My name is Asia Sampson, and today on Baptism Overland, we are building a Jeep Wrangler trunk storage system. This is Baptism Overland. It's me, my wife Jessica, our son Eris, our dog Angel, and our Jeep, Samson. Join us as we take a stock Jeep Wrangler JK and transform it into an overland vehicle capable of taking on multiple terrains. We'll share some how-tos, product reviews, and most importantly, a video diary of all our expeditions and excursions. Join us in our search for happiness in a meaningful life. Anyone who owns a Jeep knows that the storage area in the trunk just leaves a lot to be desired. There's just not a lot of room back there to put anything, right? So I wanted to build something that's simple enough that will allow me to organize all my tools, first aid kits, recovery kits, and all the other overlanding stuff that we would need. I went online and did my research, and the guys who are overlanding have done some amazing stuff with their trunk area. They used the entire back area of their Jeep. You know, they got pull-out kitchens, pull-out stoves, pull-out fridges, drawers, I mean everything. Some of them even removed the back seat so they can completely utilize all that space. My only issue is that our Jeep is a daily driver. We use it to go get groceries. We use it to go to the beach. We use it to bring home stuff from the hardware store. So I still need the trunk area. So I want to build something that's smaller, something that will allow me to still utilize the cargo area in the back to carry groceries and things of that nature. Our plan in the future is to get an off-road camping trailer, and on that camping trailer is where I'll put the fridge and the stoves and the kitchen and the rooftop tent, and basically just leave our Jeep for all of our personal stuff, like our luggage and all the other necessities that we need to bring whenever we're going on a road trip. And that's how we're going to probably do this system. So today I'm just going to show you how to build something that's a little bit smaller, that won't take up the entire trunk area of your Jeep, and but will still allow you to get a lot of organization and a lot of compartments. The first step with the build is to determine the area the storage system will take up. I still wanted to utilize the built-in hidden compartment in the Jeep for jumper cables and fuel hoses, so when I measured, I made sure whatever I built would clear the hinges that pop it open. The measurements I came out with was 37 inches wide by 7 inches deep and 12 inches high. There are car seat latches in the back of the rear seats, and figured it would be a good idea to use these to strap the storage box into place so it won't slide all over the trunk when the vehicle is in motion. The next step was to draw ideas down on paper. I wanted a simple box, but have open compartments in the front where I'll mount 2 Pelican cases, one for a first aid kit and one for recovery gear. Once I had it drawn out, I finalized the sketches into an actual plan in Illustrator. I admit this is a bit of an overkill, but because of my design background, it's just something I wanted to do. So first order of business is to do a hardware store run and come back with our basic materials for building the box. We got 3/4 inch plywood. I got 3 big sheets of 3/4 inch plywood and then 2 smaller ones for the dividers inside. We got obviously your wood glue because you need it, screws because I'm always running out of them, and 3 bottles of black matte spray paint along with Rust-Oleum's truck coating. And that's it. And so let's get to work and let's get cutting. Okay, so these are the sides that are going to go on the side of the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the table saw to like halfway of the width and then cut some grooves so that when I put the dividers in, it can just slide right in. It would have been faster if I had dado blades, but since I didn't want to spend the money, I just worked the blade along a little at a time until I had the groove cut out. So as you can see, all the wood's been cut. Real quick tip, make sure that you label every single one of them so that you remember which piece is which. You know how they say measure twice, cut once? Well, that's never been an issue for me. What was an issue, which I almost screwed up on, was orientation. So make sure you remember what it is that you're cutting and that you're cutting in the right areas so that you don't accidentally like overcut something and then now you've basically wasted that piece of wood. Make sure you put arrows so you know which way you're cutting and which part is which. So now all I gotta do is start gluing things together, put some pilot holes in, and just get it assembled. Okay, so I got all the boards cut up with all the pilot holes that I need to put on them. So now we just start putting the box together with some glue and getting the structure together. Using a long clamp as well as a corner clamp, I was able to create perfect 90-degree angles when joining all the wood together. I made a note to buy more clamps next time as I could have really used it. With another Pelican case I had laying around, I used it to measure the exact width of the front compartment so I could get a perfect fit. I'll admit I was a bit nervous that the grooves I cut earlier might accidentally be off, but it turned out I measured it correctly and the back panel slid right on in. It's not on the video, but I definitely did a dance of joy. Alright guys, so the box is done and constructed and it's been sanded. It turned out really great. And it's exactly the dimensions and the sizes, you know, exactly what I wanted it to be. Those Pelican cases that I bought actually fit right in here really nicely and nice and flush. But overall, I'm happy, so now all I gotta do is paint it up. When painting, make sure to use even strokes and build up the paint starting with a lighter coat to prevent drips. Also make sure to begin spraying before coming in contact with the surface and don't stop spraying until you've passed the surface. Let me just tell you guys what I have in front of me. I went to the hardware store and bought these aluminum metal L brackets. They're like really long. Basically, I'm going to use this to cover the front of the box so that you don't see the plywood edging. So I'm going to cut these down to size. I have 3/4 inch L brackets for the edges, and then I have the U kind, which is really long, so they didn't sell them any shorter. And I'm going to go right in the middle of the box where there's the two lines that divide the three sections. I'm probably going to just put them on with adhesive, really strong adhesive, and then maybe I will brad nail a couple of them in, or maybe just screw a couple of them in so that it holds. Okay, big mistake that I hope you don't ever make. Don't use a circular blade made for wood and use it on aluminum. It made rough cuts and sent bits of metal flying. Thankfully I wore safety goggles so it didn't get in my eye, but a few nicked me on the skin. I went over the rough edges later with a Dremel polishing stone, but next time I'll make sure to buy a blade designed to cut metal clean. The metal edging I purchased fit nicely and helps to protect the front edges of the box. I glued them down and ended up screwing them in afterwards just to keep them in place. Okay, you'll have to excuse me, but it's been windy outside, so there might be a little bit of noise interference. But let's talk hardware. First thing I have are piano hinges. They only had one size, 12-inch, and then they had a long one that was way too long, which means I would have had to have cut it, and I didn't want to have to go through all that. So instead I just bought two of them, so that all I have to do is put one on each end, and I think that'll be okay. I also have these hydraulic lifts. I've used them on projects before, and basically what they're going to do is they're going to allow me to open the box and keep the lid open. They're awesome, and I'll put a link down in, where you can buy it on Amazon. Okay, and on the back side, I bought these utility pulls. Normally they're used to open and close a drawer, but the way I'm going to use them is I'm going to mount them to the back like this, one on each end, and they're basically going to act like belt loops. That belt loop is basically going to hold this ratchet strap, and that ratchet strap is going to be secured to the Jeep. I'll tighten it, and that way the box doesn't move from the back. And then I also have magnets. Each of these will go in the back of the Pelican cases, and then what's going to happen is inside the box where the Pelican cases are going to mount, I'm going to put these metal brackets or metal plates. The way the Pelican cases will stay in the box is being magnetically put onto it. Now the reason why I'm putting the magnets on the Pelican cases instead of the plates, and instead of me putting this in the box instead, is I'm putting these on the Pelican cases so that if I need to mount those Pelican cases to something else that's metal, it already has magnets on it. Okay, so box is done. I didn't want to take you through the entire installation process because I didn't want to take up that much time on this video. But let me just walk you around on the things that I've installed. The hydraulic lifts are right in there, so it opens freely and it stays up. And when you put it back down, it slams shut, but it can lift up on its own. Make sure that you follow the instructions that it comes with, because you want to make sure that it closes and opens smoothly. If you don't follow the instructions, it may not close all the way, or it might get jammed up. I've installed these on other projects before, so I was already aware of how these things work. Right in the middle, you'll see these are the metal plates that the magnets will attach to, and that magnet will be attached to the Pelican cases that I've purchased. Here in the back, we have the two piano hinges attached to each side. It's really cool because it still opens smoothly. I was afraid that it was going to be off, but it works just fine. And then here are the two belt loops that I was talking to you guys about that are normally drawer pulls, and it'll hold this ratchet strap on one side and one on the other side, and then these will hook up to the back seat car seat harnesses in the back seat of the Jeep. For the cases, I created some designs in Illustrator and had them printed onto vinyl stickers. I then took those vinyl stickers and meticulously put them dead center in the front of each case. On the back, I determined where the metal plate would fall on the back of each case. And in that area, I drilled a hole so that I can attach the magnet with a simple bolt and nut. I made sure that the bolt wasn't too long so that it doesn't protrude on the inside. Now I'm able to put each case securely into the cubbies that I created for them, knowing that the magnets will hold them in place and they won't slide or fall off while I'm in transit. Alright guys, the box is pretty much done as you can see, but before we install it into the Jeep, I just want to let you guys know that I made some last minute modifications. There were just some things about it that were imperfect that were bothering me. Perfect example is this corner over here was kind of off and it wasn't like at a 90-degree angle. It wasn't that noticeable, but it bothered me a lot, and I found out that it's not because it's my measurements, but because the wood actually started to warp a little bit, and I guess plywood will do that to you. So I'll show you what I did to fix that. And I also added a couple more hardware to the box, and I'll show you the reasons for those as well. So let me just show you and walk you through the modifications, and then we'll go get this thing installed. The first modification I made was cut the lid that opens and closes. If you remember from earlier, one of the flaws the box had was that the front top left corner didn't line up and it looked like the lid was shorter than the box. It turns out it wasn't a measurement mistake, but instead, the left wall plywood was slightly warped outward. By cutting the lid, I permanently screwed down the front piece to the walls to keep the warp from getting worse. Then I used a flat piece of aluminum to cover the unsightly gap. Now the front top left corner lines up in a perfect 90-degree angle. Speaking of the lid, the second modification I made was add 2 more drawer pulls at each end. I did this because now that the lid opening is no longer in the front, there's no front lip to grab onto. The drawer pulls now allow me to grab the lid to open and close the box easily. It also doubles as light-duty tie-down rails for any luggage I may put on top of the box. For the panels behind the Pelican cases, you might have wondered why I cut them shorter than the box, leaving a gap. This was done on purpose because the Pelican cases are so perfectly fitted to the openings that in the event I can't reach my fingers between the case and the wall to pull the cases out from the front, we can still pop the cases out through the gap in the back. Alright, now that that's done, let's go ahead and install it into the Jeep, and I'm excited to see how this thing will look. Let's do it. Alright guys, the Jeep trunk storage system is finally done. It's been installed. It's been secured to those seatbelt harnesses in the back, so this thing is not going anywhere. Overall, I love the look of it. I love how it turned out. It's exactly what I envisioned. I love how the recovery kit and the first aid kit are prominent, and it kind of sticks out because of the color, and it's easy access. Like I can just pull it right out if I need it, but it's not going anywhere because those magnets are keeping it secure. In the middle was like the perfect spot for me to put my portable air compressor. All my tools are finally inside, and this thing doesn't take up the entire trunk, so I can still use it to put luggage and crates and other things that I need to transport on a day-to-day basis. So let us know what you've done with your rigs, how you've kind of put your trunk up to maximize space and what you have going on back there. Let me know if I made any mistakes or any suggestions, if I ever rebuild this, what I should do next time. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that we can continue to provide you with videos like this, and we will see you next time. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. Dang it! GoPro, stop recording.